Hello, everybody. No, this is take two as my phone for some reason stopped recording. But anyways, what I was going to say now. So, there is a problem inside the community with doctrine and training. This problem is the fact that people are saying multiple times that certain pieces of gear will dictate how your training goes, or if it is even effective, or that you'll even die. This is an extreme way of doctrine and philosophy. Now, I'm going to share to you my look on philosophy and the community and why. So let's go with what is currently happening. So there are people inside a community that talk about how if you don't use a plate carrier, you're going to die. Or if you don't use a plate carrier, your training is insufficient or not even worth it. This is not the case. These people that usually say these things are always from close to the Midwest, places that are near the Ozarks, or places that are flatter, more open. Midwest, I'm talking fields, less trees, less mountains, or even people that don't live in those areas and do live in areas that have mountainous terrain or deep forest, because they think the same thing, which is entirely wrong. If you've ever looked at Ukraine, which is the biggest example of what this entire doctrine that they're talking about is about, it's not even applicable to us whatsoever most of the times in the United States. We have geographical differences every single place that we go. You may have geological differences depending on which state you go in between from. Two states can have different differences in environment. Now, if you live in the Appalachian Mountains and you have nice thick woods, you don't need to worry about this whatsoever. Now, you can wear a plate carrier because there are still applications for plate carriers no matter what. So you should still have one. But it is way less stressed, and you will not just die if you don't have one. If you've ever looked in footage into Ukraine, such as when the Russians or the Ukrainians are in deep forests, not even mountainous forests, but just forests, it is extremely hard for these military groups, to take them out of those woods and push them out, because geographical differences, such as mountains or thick forests, are another sort of entrenchment. Now, if you're out in a field, yes, you should wear plates. If you're out in open areas, yes, you should wear plates. But if you're out in the woods in this sort of setting where it's nice and thick, maybe not so much as where I am right now, because where I am is where it's nice and bright, which is what I'm feeling here. But if you're in these areas that have thick vegetation and have low visibility to overhead reconnaissance and drones, you are fine, especially if it is mountainous. If it is mountainous, ordnance will be hard to reach you, drones will be hard to see you, and drones will be hard to reach you as well. Because those propellers have to fly through branches, they have to look through branches. Even if weather is a thing, fog, snow, rain will all obstruct drones. If you have trees mixed with mountains, mixed with weather, including microterrain like I have in this state, where I have tons of rock formations, I have tons of little divots, I stress you this, doesn't matter as much. Your training is still applicable no matter what you do. Even if you are using an airsoft gun, it may not be the best, but it's still worth it. Go out and do it. Anyways, there's examples in Ukraine where these armies are going into these flat forests and having a hard time taking people out because the natural entrenchment of having trees over your head, is so apparent. If you look into any single footage of drones flying into those trees and destroying something, it is not a person. They are targeting vehicles. Because vehicles, one, of course, you can't hide vehicles. Vehicles are big, they're they're burly, they're not going to be able to go through dense woods. So that alone is one of the areas where drones can attack you. Is, like I said, open areas, which is why in all those footages they are only attacking vehicles. As one, it's a priority for them, and two, it's the only way drones can ever enter those woods. Is because the vehicles have to be in an open space anyways to being able to operate. If you look into footage of the Russians using their tanks and their vehicles, they are always using roads, dirt roads and such, and that's where they get hit, even when they're in the woods. So there's open areas of influence where drones can fly into the top of the tree cover and hit them. If you don't have that, if you're not in those open areas, if you're in trees and densely sparse areas, especially areas that are uneven, those drones are not going to be able to be manipulated into that environment, and you will be safe. And if you aren't, there are things you can do, such as 1. Camouflage. If a drone sees you, you may be dead depending on your environment. If it doesn't, you're fine. 2. Cover. There has been footage of Russian soldiers going around a single tree after 6 drones were attacking him, and all he would do is run around the tree and jump and dive, and the drone would hit next to him and he would be safe. I've seen that man in the footage I'm talking about dodge 6 different drones that were attacking him, and he survived just because he was doing ring around the posy around a single tree that had a little bit of brush around it. Now that is an extremely stressful situation, and you still may catch shrapnel, but it shows drones aren't the end all be all. They're not the boogeyman. They're not the boogeyman. The boogeymans in certain situations do not exist. Thermals are not everything. Tree cover will kill thermals. Dead sparse forests will kill thermals. A thermal cannot look through a tree, just like a thermal can't look through a window. It shouldn't need to be discussed, but it has to be. Now, like I said, you should have a plate carrier for certain missions where you're in the open and where it does dictate, especially missions that are urban, which you shouldn't be really doing if you're going in urban. You should have a belt kit. You should have a lighter belt kit if you want to, and a chest rig. Just a chest rig. That's all you should have. 1 to 2 belt kits, a plate carrier, even if it's bare bones, and a chest rig. And that can be multiple. You can do multiple different things with that. Like this. This in itself is a recon belt. I can use this on its own for just small recon, or whatever it is, and if I need more ammunition, because I only have 4 magazines on this belt, I can throw it in my backpack. I can throw a micro rig, even if that's cringe. I can throw a micro rig on that I have in my backpack, so I can have even more magazines. So I have a fighting load. Or I could store it in my bag, or already have it on. I could throw a plate carrier onto this belt, and boom, I have armor, I have protection. Boom. So I have lightweight recon rig. I have full-on fighting load if I want to put on a chest rig or something of the sort. I can throw on armor and have a fighting load while having the protection of plates and soft armor. It's scalable. It's the absolute scalability. If I really wanted to, I could take out the magazines in this pouch and I could replace it with a pistol. I could put a pistol in this pouch and I could have pistol capabilities. It's scalable, no matter what. In the backpack, pouches, I have every single need I can if I want sustainment. I can throw food in this one, which I have in there. I can throw my batteries and everything else I need in this one. I have all my medical gear right here for packing wounds, gauze, the chest seals, tourniquet right there. I can have tourniquets in my 2 legs right here. I can put more pouches on here if I really need to for tourniquets, such as right here. Put a tourniquet pouch right here, which I probably will. Scale your kit. The wind is making all this snow fall from the trees. Scale your kit. If you can't scale your kit, you're doing something wrong. It is not only plate carrier, it is not only belt kit, it is not only chest rig. Now, if you absolutely have a definitive environment where plate carriers don't work, such as only mountainous, no roads or anything of the sort, then yeah, you should mostly run belt kit. But I would recommend that you should always have everything you need in case of certain scenarios and such. I have a plate carrier that I'm working on right now. I have this rig. I have my full sustainment load bearing system, and I'm planning on getting a micro rig. I don't like chest rigs, so I'm not using it as a fighting load, but I will be using it to add on to this for scalability, because I love load bearing equipment. I love this. It's the best thing you can ever have. This is the philosophy. Stop paying attention to Ukraine. You can pay attention to Ukraine, but if it isn't applicable to you, it shouldn't be like the Gospels. It shouldn't. You should look at this stuff and know that the Minuteman, the Guerrilla, the LARPer, wherever it is, our biggest threat that we can apply is our adaptability. is the fact that we are an irregular force. We're not forced into doctrine. We can change it depending on our environment. If we need to plus up our camouflage, we can throw on that leaf suit. If we don't, we can throw it off. If you don't want to wear a plate carrier, we can take off that plate carrier. If you don't want to wear that chest rig, we can throw on our belt cape. If you don't even want to wear camouflage, you can wear civilian clothing to blend in a different way. Scalability, adaptability to your environment and scenario is probably your best weapon you can ever have in a situation. If you don't utilize that, you're not utilizing your training to the best point. You should be able to go out a mile, 3 miles, or even beyond that, to 5 to 10 miles. Whether it be by walking or by riding. And if you do ride, you should still be able to walk the distance. At least have the capability to do so. And go out. At least be a mile away from any houses. And set up targets or whatever it may be. And do drills. Go out, shoot. Not just do this in one way. We need to be open-minded. Closing off your mind. Calling each other retarded. For scenarios that you don't even know about. Because they're in entirely different parts of the world. Of a world that you're not in. Is going to get you killed. Or even going to get them killed. We recognize that this doctrine that we're spitting is the same doctrine that's supposed to save our lives. So if you go to someone and you tell them, hey, you're doing this wrong, even if it's out of good heart, and you're telling them to wear a plate carrier. Now, I'm not saying you're responsible for this, that this could happen. I just want you to think more that while you're telling these people to wear these things, even if it's not applicable, they may do this in the future. They may put on that plate carrier, get gassed because it's super heavy and it's hard to move it, and be killed. You need to realize that as long as they're not where you are currently, or in your scenario, what you say doesn't mean shit. It could be entirely different from what they're going to experience or what they need. What you say could be the difference between them living or them getting themselves killed. It's not saying what you say is going to kill someone, but it's more than saying you need to think of what you're trying to tell them before you say that it's the end all be all. Because it never is. I can tell someone to run belt kit. I can tell someone to do this. But if they have something entirely different that works for them, I'll let them do it. You can do it. So anyways, Easter, Orthodox Easter, Pascha is coming April 12th. The resurrection of our Lord Jesus Christ and the ascension into heaven. It's almost here. So, in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, truly, may God be with you, and know that Christ is risen. Glorify Him.